You know what frustrates me the most about Amazon? It's when they sneak in massive changes that affect every seller, but they don't exactly roll out a big announcement for it. You log in one day, dig around in your settings, and suddenly you find something that could literally shift how you run your business. Well, this just happened. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sami. I run an Amazon brand management agency called Labels Growth, where we handle everything from research and sourcing to PPC optimization and scaling. And today I want to break down what I think is one of the most impactful Amazon FBA policy changes in years, the new return settings that just went live. So let's walk through what's going on here. Amazon recently introduced three brand new return related settings inside your fulfillment by Amazon panel. The one is returnless resolution, return item evaluation, and damage inventory ownership. If you haven't checked them yet, you'll find them under your FBA settings by clicking the gear icon. Now, by default, returnless resolutions is disabled, while the other two return item evaluation and damage inventory ownership are enabled. But just because Amazon set these defaults doesn't mean they're right for your business. In fact, I think most sellers are going to need to review these very carefully. So let's start with returnless resolutions. This setting basically lets Amazon decide if customers can just keep an item without sending it back while still receiving a refund. Why would any seller want that? Well, here's the reality. If your products are often returned in unsellable condition, damaged, open, or simply not worth putting back into inventory, it can actually be more profitable to let the customer keep the item instead of paying Amazon fees to process, evaluate, and then dispose of it. But here's where our strategy comes in. If your product typically comes back in good condition and can be resold as new, you'd probably want to keep returnless resolutions off. Otherwise, you're giving away products unnecessarily. My advice: go through your ASINs one by one, check your return reports, and see how often items come back as sellable. If the numbers are against you, enabling returnless might actually save money. Next we have got returned item evaluation. This one. Enabled by default, and I actually think that's a good thing for most sellers. With this setting, Amazon associates check each return product to see if it can be resold. If it's in like new condition, they'll put it back into your inventory. If you disable this, every return item automatically becomes unsellable. And here's the kicker: you also lose eligibility for a reimbursement on damaged items. That's a pretty big deal. I don't recommend turning this off unless you sell something super sensitive like supplements or products where once they are opened, they can never be resold safely. For 90% of sellers, keeping it on products you from unnecessary loses. Now, the third one, damage inventory ownership, is where things get tricky. This setting allows Amazon to take ownership of any inventory that gets damaged due to Amazon's fault. On paper, it sounds fair. They reimburse you and then they handle the rest. But here's the part I don't like. Once they reimburse you, they can resell that damaged inventory themselves through Amazon warehouse. That means your product, your brand ends up on a listing as used like new or something similar, and you no longer have control over it. The alternative isn't perfect either. If you disable the setting, you are essentially saying, fine, Amazon don't take ownership, but then your damaged goods are not eligible for reimbursement at all. Instead, they are marked defective and go straight to removal or disposal, depending on your settings. So you are forced to choose between losing inventory control or losing reimbursement. Neither is ideal. This is one of those changes that really shows how Amazon keeps tightening the leash on sellers. They have created a system where no matter which option you choose, they're holding the upper hand. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a pain point for sellers with high value products. So, what should you do? First, log in and review your settings immediately. Look at your product catalog, analyze your return data, and decide which settings actually make sense for you. Don't just leave everything on default. Second, think about how this impacts your long term profitability. If your products usually come back sellable, keep evaluations on. If your items are always unsellable on return, consider returnless. And for the damage inventory setting, be very cautious because that one's trickiest. Personally, I don't like that Amazon gets to resell damaged goods, but the alternative of losing reimbursement altogether also stings. I'd rather get something back than nothing at all. But every seller needs to wait for themselves. That's the a breakdown of the new FBA return setting. Amazon didn't exactly make a big announcement, but they are live right now and you need to act on them. And if you are feeling overwhelmed by changes like this, that's literally what my team and I do at Labels Growth. We help brands not only survive these updates, but actually use them strategically to scale. If you're interested in getting help with your Amazon business, you can always reach out through labelsgrowth.com.